Let's go. A lot to get to tonight. Okay. So I'm going to start off here just at the beginning. Once again, let's be as civil as we possibly can. This is as optimistic as I'm probably going to be. We still have an opportunity to win the SEC championship. And if before the season began, I were to say to you, would you take 9-3 as this team's record with a win versus Alabama? You would, with a resounding tone in your voice, say yes. So, first things first, before we get into what just happened in College Station, let's first acknowledge that LSU in this game did not play well. But overall, on the season, the team exceeded their expectations. And that is the simple truth. Now, that is me waving my LSU pom-poms. Now we need to get into what actually happened in this game. I will give Texas A&M a lot of credit. They made a lot of plays happen. They're single digits, and I know I've been tweeting this 1,000 times. We're making really big plays, not small plays. They were making moss catches on our DBs. Sometimes you cannot stop that. A&M's got 5-star athletes. They have the sons of legends on their sidelines, kind of like how we have sons of legends on our sidelines. I think they mentioned Moose Muhammad's dad 50 times tonight. That guy was incredible. And if you were a member of the PHL Patreon, I started feeling better about LSU's chances just by watching Texas A&M's games. I've watched a lot of Texas A&M this season. They have been terrible. But sometimes randomly, their 5-star talent plays at a 5-star level, and they had a 5-star quarterback play at a 5-star level tonight. They had a elite running back who's going to get drafted really high play the absolute best game of his career, over 200 yards rushing. So Texas A&M did a lot of things right. We didn't. And let's be honest, where Matt House was great, we gave him credit. He was bad tonight. If I were to say going into the game, Connor Weidman would only throw the football 15 times, and they run on us nonstop, you've got to make Connor Weidman beat you. But he played amazing. He made some really difficult throws, and unlike Jayden Daniels, he allowed his wide receivers to go out there and make plays. Okay? So let's start off with the defense, right? As we check the poll question here, who is most to blame for LSU's loss to Texas A&M? The LSU defense is currently leading the poll. I agree to a certain extent, okay? Now, I hate losing to the Aggies. We start off with Rick. I do too. It hurts. Let's be honest. All of us are hurt, especially someone like me who is going to Atlanta next week. It hurts to see them go out there and win. But let's be honest about LSU this year. Did LSU deserve to win the game versus Auburn earlier this year on the road? No. They played better offensively than we did, and at times they played better defensively than we did. We just made the big plays when it mattered the most. Did we deserve to beat Arkansas? Without Harold Perkins, we get beat. If they have KJ Jefferson, they'd probably beat us. There were a lot of games that we won that we did not deserve to win. And the issue with winning games like that is you get in these games where the other team's offense plays at an extremely high level and your offense can't keep up. And tonight, LSU's offense sucked. Jayden played at an extremely high level to start, and he fell apart in the third quarter. In the first half, the Kyron Lacey drops were huge. I cannot count how many times when LSU had a great first drive offensively, they had a great game offensively. When they ended the second half with a great drive, they played a great game offensively. And the Kyron Lacy drops ended both of those things. Cannot state enough how big those drops were. They were huge, right? I know we want to focus in on Jayden Daniels' mistakes. They were massive. We're going to get into a film study in just a second. He made some downright, really, really bad quarterbacking plays that he should not be making at this point in his career. But Jayden also did a lot of good things tonight. And that's important to note. But at some point, you needed your quarterback to go out there and win you the game and or not lose you the game. And Jayden this year had done a really good job of, when he wasn't going out there and winning the game like he did versus Alabama, he at the same time was not losing the game like he did in the second half versus Arkansas, where he didn't make any turnovers. The decision to not hand the football off to John Emery in that spot was massive. And I think Brian Kelly's going to talk about that here in just a second. So, we'll get to as many super chats as we possibly can tonight. I'm willing to go all night, and I really appreciate all you guys. Okay? JD5, the USFL is calling. Please go. Strongly disagree with that. Jayden, for the most part, played well. It's just his mistakes were so massive. Lacy blew it. Yeah, it was a really bad game. I hope he's okay. He did get hit pretty hard when he actually did catch it. But we'll see. I'd rather us not beat Georgia so we at least have an SEC team in the finals. That is lunacy. I've never understood that. SEC? No. I only cheer for my team. And I run an SEC channel. Okay. Will I root for the SEC in other matchups? Yes, but if we're playing for an SEC title, you want Georgia to beat us? Come on, DRC, you're better than that. That's crazy. Because if Georgia loses, they still get in. Okay? That doesn't make any sense. And honestly, this is it about Kyron Lacy. Those drops continue the drives. And that's why they are so massive, right? This was a massive missed opportunity. I also think our 5-star athletes left some plays on the field. Okay. I understand Moose Muhammad made 2 amazing catches in the second half of this game, but Sage Ryan had the opportunity to make a play on both of those, and he didn't. Sage has gotten beat on a lot of our deep passes this year. So maybe LSU needs to reevaluate who plays the nickel. Once again, it was more great offense by Texas A&M, but Sage did have the opportunity. Now, why was Sage playing so much? He has played a lot for us this year, but he's played a lot because, Jarek Bernard-Converse was not ready to go. So there you go. I feel like throwing up. I do too, Jackson. I feel really sick. The reason, personally, part of the reason I feel really sick is that I am going to Atlanta next week. That does possibly make this sting a little bit more. But Jimbo ending our college football playoff chances hurts. It really, really hurts. And look, I felt early in the week I liked LSU's chances. As the season moved on, as the week moved on, I watched a bunch of Texas A&M games, watched a bunch of, their media people talking about the team. And then when it just came down to it, they just played their best game. None of their other games look like this. Every A&M fan will tell you that. But, this is their final game. And we saw it throughout the SEC this week. Okay. Missouri, it was their final game. They had to win to go to a bowl game. They got it done. Okay. Now, I know Tennessee, I haven't checked lately. They were blowing out Vanderbilt. That wasn't a case of this. But a lot of teams that are playing their final game, they are a tough out. UCLA struggled with the bad Cal team. on rivalry week, it's a tough out. We were the same way versus Texas A&M last year. Thank you for bringing sanity to my night, Carter. Sometimes teams just hot and on fire. And lucky to see South Carolina versus Tennessee would literally and figuratively drop the ball tonight. We did. And honestly, there's no reason to argue to Tennessee fans. And I know I called out a bunch of Tennessee fans. I got to eat crow. We choked as bad as you choked last week. We choked. We had the opportunity of the lifetime, kind of backing into this opportunity to win the West. The only 2-loss SEC West champion in probably quite some time. We choked. We choked tonight. And there's no other way around it. We choked. And I know that's a tough pill to swallow. I know Texas A&M did a lot of great things. We choked tonight. Don't take anything away from what Texas A&M did. But offensively, we left a lot of yards on the field, okay? As much as we talk about Kyron Lacey's drop to start the game on the first drive, John Embry did have one-on-one versus a safety running clean through the hole, and they tackled him one-on-one. When Devon Achane had the opportunity to go one-on-one versus our DBs and our linebackers, he broke those tackles. It's just that simple as that. And John had a good game overall. John was one of our best players. You make that guy miss, it's a first down, okay? Before the Jayden Daniels fumble play, Noah Cain had the edge. McKinley Jackson, their defensive tackle, sucked up Noah Cain and tackled him to make it a 3rd and 1 instead of a first down. They made plays tonight. We did not make big plays tonight. And what I think happened is this team felt like on the road, we can back into a victory like we did in some of our other road games. Championship teams win games instead of backing into wins, if that makes sense. You've got to play 4-quarter football. And I know we got a lot of super chats here, but this was just something that I kept seeing from LSU this year. Now, you could still win a lot of games if we don't lose games, and LSU did a really good job of not losing games this year, right? You go to the Florida State game, a lot of their offensive plays was Jordan Travis throwing flat-out dimes, okay? The only game that we just went out there and lost was the Tennessee game. Every other game, we made the other team beat us, and you can win a lot of games like that. But the truth is, championship teams win games instead of finding ways to not lose them. And that is a very clear distinction. And those that really know sports knows exactly what I'm talking about. I know that's kind of tough, but we'll talk about it in the film study, okay? Tigers had a regression towards the average, but did not win. Do you think the Tigers played over our talent head all year, which is fine? Yes and no. This is a really good super chat. I think, and I know I've lost subscribers over this. There's a guy that he loved my channel. He kept getting tired of me saying this, but there were some games where we got lucky and won them, right? And tonight was a game where we needed to go out there and really beat Texas A&M, and we did not make enough plays. Like, here's a good example of it. Even though the game was out of reach, Jeray Jenkins, throughout the entire season, you won't find a bigger Jeray Jenkins fan than me. Jeray Jenkins made every big play. I got the iPad for you, bud.
Okay, babe. Sorry. I'm not trying to interrupt.
No, it's all good. Jeray Jenkins made – I don't need this one.
Okay.
Jeray Jenkins made every big play. He makes that catch. He didn't. And that was just a microcosm of the night. Now, we'll get into the film study about Jayden Daniels. I did cut up a few plays of Jayden, what I liked and disliked tonight, and we'll get to that in just a second. We just didn't make plays tonight. Like, honestly, we could talk all we want about the game plan. I do have a few things I would have done differently if I was Matt House. But defensively, we just didn't make enough plays. Why not have Booty or Neighbors on those huge third down play calls? There's no reason you have Lacey in those spots. We missed Bernard Converse tonight. Really good super chat. And as Carvis knows, you guys know Carvis from being a really close friend of mine and a big time supporter of the channel. Carvis is right on the air, like he always is. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of questions about that. I just like Kyron's made some big plays for us. He had a big catch versus Alabama. He's gotten hit really hard this year. He's a tough son of a gun, but he's not a single digit playmaker, right? He's a good receiver, right? He's Kadron Boone, if you will. I didn't get it. I really didn't get it. But they know more about our wide receiver rotations than we do. Okay? So we go to Zach right here. Obviously, I have an issue with the JD fumble, but I have a bigger problem with this hero ball decision to keep and try to get the edge on a 3rd and 1 instead of giving it to Emory, who was running really well. Okay? So, Zach, we're going to get back to that one in just a second. There's a few more super chats that I want to get to, and you'll see why I'm going to come back to Jack's message in just a second. If you guys don't mind, please feel free to hit the subscribe button, ring the bell. I understand that a lot of you probably aren't in a giving mood, but I'm telling you, we do have Black Friday shopping on our PHL merch, okay? Now, once again, if you're a big supporter of me, everything here will go up in price at the stroke of midnight. So please take advantage of the deals now. Support the PHL movement. PowerHourLSU.com is the way you can get it. And don't forget to join our Patreon page as well, patreon.com/LSU football. Okay? So Emperor Prowl says it was a tough read. Let's go to Jared's Super Chat, and then we'll get into the film here. We'll probably beat UGA now and go to a crab bowl, and they'll win an Natty. Winners beat the teams that they're supposed to. Honestly, this is just the truth. Did Texas A&M make a lot of plays? Yes. But you look at the teams that have reached the national championship game at LSU, okay? Go look at all our teams that have reached it. We had players that went out there and won us games, right? And, we just didn't make enough big plays. We just didn't. And, I think Jayden is a really good quarterback. I think if Jayden were the quarterback next year, he would lead us to another 9 or 10 win season. But as you'll see right here with the film study, there were a few things that I would have done differently if I were him. Okay, so the reason why I wanted to wait to answer Zach's super chat, Emperor Pal says it was a tough read. I actually disagree with that. Okay, and this will show you why I think it was. And I also think Brian Kelly wouldn't have been as mad at Jayden after the game if this wasn't an easier 3rd down read on the fumble. Let's go. So Jayden Daniels decided to give this football to John. This would have been a 1st down and potentially more. We get a great double right here on both their DTs. And honestly, pre-snap, Jayden should have seen that this is a clear handoff because both their DTs are playing in what is called 2 techniques, kind of sort of 3-ish techniques. So the DTs are wide. Let's pound this thing up in there, right? And take advantage of their wide splits. Instead, Jayden wants to keep it. And because Mason got a piece on this player crashing in, John taking this football, you could see that all these players are playing the Jayden Daniels keep. That would have been enough right there from Miles Frazier for John to squeeze through here to potentially be one-on-one versus a safety for a big run, but he at least would have gotten the 1st down. Instead, it is a touchdown the other way. So, bad read right there by Jayden. All right, 3rd and 16 right here, and I didn't love this from LSU for a few reasons. The first thing is we're running all deep routes past the sticks, okay? You're asking a lot out of your offensive line to give Jayden enough time to actually throw this football. And guess what? They rush 3, and they have a spy, okay? And Emory Jones, who committed the holding penalty on the 1st down on the play before, it was a questionable call. He does get beat here. So Jayden steps up. Right here, you have to know you're not going to be able to run for this 1st down, okay? So instead he tries to run for it. I get it because, you can run for it and make it a manageable 4th. Or we could have run a play that could have given us a more manageable 4th down situation. But the truth is, if we are running deep routes, you have to tell your quarterback, hey, it's going to be hard for you to run for all of these yards. Reset your feet and throw it. Okay, look to see if something is open down the field. And if he would have reset his feet, he would have had Jack Bech for a first down right here. And he could have had Jure for a first down right here. Instead, it is an underthrow. So there you go. Big thanks to Zach for the super chat on the 3rd and 1 read. We go to Max here. I see someone that says Jayden Daniels is garbage. Really? Really? That's your takeaway from tonight? That Jayden Daniels is garbage? Come on. You're better than that. Who is it, Corey? You're better than that. Garbage? Are you kidding me? This guy got his leg folded in half and he still ran out there for us. Yeah, I just showed you 2 plays where I eviscerated him. But he also did a lot of good. To call him garbage, leading a team to a 9-3 record and an SEC West championship, might want to redefine your definition of garbage. I'm just saying. I mean, there's plenty of garbage quarterbacks. You want to call Haynes King garbage? That's fine because he is garbage. But garbage? Really? Really? Garbage? Really? We're going to call this guy garbage? Were you saying that after the Alabama game? Now, is Jayden Daniels unbelievable? No, but he's pretty daggum good. He wasn't great tonight. JD5 was tentative and played scared, which was my worst fear. It's true. D giving up all those points as well. True. Got to give him his flowers when he deserves it, but tonight was what he has been. No anticipatory throws. That is true. That is true. I'm defending him. You called him garbage, which is objectively false, right? A garbage quarterback doesn't lead you to an SEC 9-3 record. We got to be fair here. Was he great tonight? No. Did I tear him apart after the Arkansas game? You better believe it. He was horrible that game. He was garbage that game. I'll tell you that. But to call him garbage overall, really? I guess we have a definite. I guess we have a different definition of what that means. Okay. Told y'all about Jayden. Remember what I called Sage Ryan a bust a few months ago? Yeah, it was a tough game for him tonight. And look, I don't mind on one of those plays you're getting mossed. You would like to see him make a play on one of the two. On one of the two. Okay? And he didn't. He didn't. Okay? Poor tackling cost us. Got a tackle, too many missed tackles, and drop balls. Yeah, and honestly, their 5-star skill guys played like 5-star skill guys. And that's all there is to it. Okay? Devon Achane played really well tonight. We were physically manhandled in a lot of different ways tonight. I felt like tonight was the first night, okay, to see where losing somebody like Mason Smith is a big deal, okay? So, look, was Jayden his absolute best tonight? No. Did he lose us a game in the third quarter? Probably. First half, he was superb. Superb. He honestly was, right? Guys are dropping passes. He was throwing darts to Malik. Third quarter, that was his worst quarter. That was his worst quarter of the year. Knowing the stakes, where we were outside of the first quarter versus Arkansas, third quarter, as you saw right there, was his worst. Okay. And, there's no other way around it. But to say Jayden is just horrible, you're going overboard, right? It's not hard to have a little bit of nuance, right? It's not hard. Carter Spin facts on JD5. He is a good SEC quarterback. Okay. So here's somebody I trust a lot. He works in fantasy football, the dynasty fantasy football stuff. So I really trust Derek's knowledge, especially on running backs. Okay. So Achane hadn't really been that great this year. That was something else that was a little shocking tonight. He had been okay. Like, he didn't, like, it wasn't, I mean, going into the year, there was rumors that people thought he would be the best back in the SEC. But this year, a lot of people passed him up. Quinshawn did. Jahmyr Gibbs was better. Achane played his absolute best game tonight. And that happens. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes you play someone who was just flat out phenomenal. Okay? Jayden looked through an amazing pass to Dre Jenkins at the end, looked like a TD to me, Carter. What do you think? I do agree that you could argue that it should be a touchdown, but consistently referees want you to handle the football all the way to the ground, and Dre didn't do that. So, I'm a big Dre Jenkins fan. He didn't bring it all the way down. Even then, that was at the end of the game, and we were out of it. But Buster, thank you for a super chat. I really appreciate it. So, yeah. Jayden threw an amazing, and I would like to say that was a touchdown. In a perfect world, it would be a tutty. Now, this loss isn't in Jayden. He made mistakes, but the drops killed us. He played well enough to win. Defense missed too many tackles. Strong disagreement on the third sentence. I don't think he played well enough to win. Okay, I won't take. Once again, I know I lose viewers. I would be a lot better off just saying Jayden is the best thing ever or Jayden is garbage. I try my best to be as nuanced as I possibly can, right? He did lose us the game in the third quarter, along with the defense. So it's not entirely on him. But I just showed the film a minute ago, and I appreciate your super chat, Cliche 18. I really do. It was bad. It was bad. The zone read pull, it's one thing to keep it. You can't fumble it there. You can't fumble it. Okay? Second thing, the 3rd and 16. You're not going to get all the yards running right there. You've got to keep your eyes down the field and hit Jack Besh. He had an awful third quarter. And their offense did not let up. And something else about that is and look, there's some people that don't believe in momentum. You just don't. But if you do, the third quarter was where we had it, right? We had the big drops. We were able to come back and tie the game up. And as much as we've piled on Kyron Lacey, he's not a primetime player for us. Our primetime player still had an opportunity to go out there and win us a game in the third quarter. We tied up in the third, and we choked. And a big reason why we choked is Jayden made mistakes. I love Jayden. I'll defend him. He made some massive errors in the third quarter. Massive. And it's hard to argue to the contrary. It is just what happened. Okay? Now, is a lot of this on the defense? Yes. But college football is an offensive game. And if you were to ask me, was Texas A&M's offensive success due to them making plays or our defense making mistakes? It had more to do with Texas A&M's offense making plays, right? And in the modern game, you've got to have an offense that can win in a back and forth shootout, right? Our defense, this was their first bad game since the Tennessee game. But really, the Tennessee game wasn't that bad because they were put in really bad spots. This was the first Matt House defensive game where LSU was bad in every single quarter. They were bad in the first, bad in the second, bad in the third, and bad in the fourth. This was the first game, okay? It's hard for me to pin it on the defense. There were more games that LSU won this year where the defense was the driving force as to why we won the game. We need an offense that can win a game when our defense is not the driving force behind our success, right? So The defense is a big reason why we did not play well. It really is. Okay. And, we have been relying on them in so many major ways. That was tough. I'm going to be honest. That was tough to see them establish their will against our guys. And look, that's all there is to it. Okay. So uh, man, it's tough. It's really, really tough, man. How could a house not adjust to a chain? Could have done more. And I think it's kind of tough for me to say what I would have done different defensively um, without a rewatch. But wow. But yes, I'm upset with the loss. But preseason, we're picked to go 7-5 at best. We're sitting at 9-3 and won the SEC West in year one. Let's chill as a fan base to have the CFB expectations in year one with BK. It will come. Totally agree with this from Zach. Really looking forward to meeting him next week in Atlanta. I don't think it takes away if we beat Georgia next week or not. Because look, if our goal is to win national championships, then it would have been hard seeing us winning a national championship with this roster, which is honestly not that we're not that deep. And that also hurt us tonight as well. Not having Converse tonight was huge. I got to be honest. There's something to be said about a sixth year senior defensive back. And honestly, if you're really looking at it, we don't beat Alabama without Converse. He had been really good for us this back half. FACP, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Appreciate the bond that we've grown. Me, you, Steve, John, the whole crew. The Alabama game was all thanks to you and your crew. I can't wait to hang out with you guys for tailgates next year. And honestly, I know we've gone back and forth with all people being angry and me being mad at this team. I highly recommend, if you're just now joining us, go to the very beginning of our live chat and you'll see that I spun this as positively as we possibly could, as did Zach just a minute ago. I am happy with everybody that is in that locker room, including Kyron Lacey, including Jayden Daniels, including everybody that's played on that amazing SEC LSU defense this year. But tonight we weren't good enough. And you guys come here for honesty. It's perfectly fine. And I try and be as honest as objective as we possibly can. I will not stand for so-and-so is garbage or so-and-so is just bad unless they truly are just bad. But yes, there's going to be a lot of chatter about whatever comes next for this roster. Okay, let's go to James. Excuses: LSU's defense got bullied, plain and simple. It's even worse when the opponent takes your manhood. Sage Ryan, oh boy. I mean, that's just true. This is just a lot of facts, right? And I do think it's a little bit of both. I do think their guys stepped up and made plays, but championship defenses exert their will. And, we've not been as good away from Tiger Stadium as we have been at home. And, yesterday, there was Thanksgiving. I was with, one of my best friends. He's an Arkansas fan. And, he knows a lot about college football. But, he asked you a bunch of questions about why teams struggle on the road so much. Because he bet, I believe he bet Tennessee to blow out South Carolina. And then South Carolina did what they did versus Tennessee last week. And honestly, if I don't know how many games you guys have gone to I've been very fortunate to go to a lot of these SEC stadiums. It's hard to play and win on the road. It's really hard, right? These are 18 to 22-year-olds who don't really know what their futures hold. There's 100,000 screaming fans. And it's a juxtaposition from a very regimented life that you have as a college football player. You don't travel that much as a college football player. You don't practice 11 on 11 football during the offseason. It's not like basketball or baseball where you play pickup and play on, travel teams and all that stuff, Cape Cod leagues in the offseason. Football is really brutal when you have to go on the road and break up your routine. Also, it's especially hard to go on the road during a holiday week, right? But like James said, those are all just excuses. And championship teams overcome all of that. And we didn't. Plain and simple. We sucked. Okay. We could celebrate the season while at the same time look at this truthfully. Jarek Bernard Converse allows Jay Ward to stay in the slot. You're right about that, man. And I'll keep hammering it home. It is something to be said when an adult is back in that secondary and he's a leader and he's played in Bedlam, plenty of times in the big game versus Oklahoma. He's played in a lot of big rivalry games. Something to be said about that guy. And when we played Alabama, Converse was the best player on the field for us, arguably. So, we missed him tonight. We really, really did. Here's Odyssey. We flat out got beat today. Absolutely, Jackson. Can we beat Georgia? What will it take? So as you saw today, college football is a very weird sport. It's a week-to-week sport. I watched a good bit of the Georgia Tech game early. Georgia Tech actually did a lot to allow that game to get to slip away. Yeah, we could beat Georgia. We do. Right now, I say Spencer Rattler. Staquavius Bennett is not playing his best football. Georgia's defense is really good. Jayden presents a challenge for them. So, yeah, we could beat Georgia if everything goes our way. There's something to be said about a team coming off a loss. But it's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot. Okay, let's go to Boris. Sucks when the other team plays better. Go Tigers. It does. Sometimes it sucks when you really, really, really don't know what just happened. Okay? I'm not proud losing to a 4-7 Texas A&M. In your opinion, was that a touchdown? I want everyone to welcome Trevon Lawrence to the channel. Everyone welcome Trevon. Type Y for yes, type in for no. Do you believe the Jeray Jenkins catch was a touchdown? Let's see. We needed this win for our recruiting as well. Just it was bad. We needed to beat Georgia to clean up our mess. I always stand by this, caucus. I don't think I don't allow one loss to sway recruiting. I just don't. It could have hurt us, yes, but I don't think recruits care so much about the game to game. I think it's more than just that. Like, for instance, let's take Deron Reed, for instance, who flipped to Auburn this week. Was it because of any one game? No. There's a lot more factors in individual games. It does make it harder to pick up the phone and go recruiting because there's always just a more upbeat tone in your voice when you had just won a game. So there you go. Do I believe that there was a little bit of a look ahead to Georgia? Yeah, I do. I do. Okay. There you go. Skipper welcoming Trevon. Good to see you. Okay, Corey. Calling me a clown? You're calling me a clown? Okay. Defending a QB that's garbage? And guess what? Calling me a clown will get you blocked. See you, Corey, with your trash takes. He kept doing it. I don't know. You poke a bear enough times, I'm going to block you. Okay? I know he's going to say he's got thin skin. No, I don't. You call me a clown. Block party. Huh? 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 Yeah, just to understand. You guys don't block people unless it's like the rare example or the rare block. But it happened. Let's see here. Who is most to blame for LSU's loss to Texas A&M? LSU defense currently winning the poll. Jayden Daniels, 23%. Brian Kelly, 16%. And the funny thing about like saying you're a clown, like that is a bad thing. It's a disrespect to clowns everywhere, right? Clowns are hardworking professionals. When did they think that clowns were a bad thing, right? I don't know many Simpsons fans that watch this, but you ask me, Krusty had some of the best punchlines on that show. Okay. My man, Steve. So, Steve has become one of my really good friends. Love this man. We're going to be doing a lot of fun stuff with Steve. More on that coming up. And let me remind everybody here, this Black Friday, Steve partaked in one of the coolest traditions that we have here at PHL. And it's a new tradition on PowerHourLSU.com. You can take advantage of our sales on some of our merch right here. There you go. Get in multiple colors as well. And Steve hooked himself up with some PHL merch and took advantage of the Black Friday deals. I really appreciate you. Let's answer your questions. And by the way, Steve did throw the most epic tailgate I've ever been to. I've been to a lot of fun tailgates. That Catfish Acadian, are you kidding me? Win an ATL, we will feel better. Think BK can get them to bounce back. Absolutely. And in many ways, I think Georgia would have rather LSU won this game versus Texas A&M instead of lose, right? Because LSU has bounced back after losses better than any other team in the SEC, right? After the Florida State game, we started to play better. After the Tennessee loss, we played as good as anybody in the SEC in a lot of big spots. Now, what's it going to take to beat Georgia? It's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot. Now, I will also say this, Steve, and I do think it's important to bring this up. This was more of what Texas A&M actually was instead of what they were the entire season, right? What Texas A&M did to us was exactly what we did to them last year. They were coached up and they played to their 5-star talent level tonight. I think when I rewatched the film, we really struggled with McKinley Jackson. Really good defensive tackle prospect. He was a top 100 recruit. He made some big plays versus us, right? He made the touchdown-saving tackle on Jayden when he grabbed him by the arm. He made a big tackle on Noah Cain on the next play. We fumbled for the touchdown, and we wouldn't have run that play if McKinley Jackson had not made that tackle on Noah Cain on second down. That guy made a lot of plays for us. I think he's number 34 or 35. I don't remember. God, he was big, and we struggled with them. We really, really, really did. So, yeah, I think we will bounce back. The issue, though, is Jalen Carter is waiting for us next week and he is the best defensive tackle in America. Joe, good to see you. Thank you so much for your super chat. I really do appreciate you. So there you go. Wow, blocked which dude for giving me a compliment? Let's go to Tari. Was it wet on the field? I'm trying to find an excuse for the poor tackling. No, it wasn't wet. Okay. It wasn't. In fact, that was probably the best field conditions we had all year on the road, right? Florida's field was immaculate. Obviously, Arkansas was cold and the field was slick. Auburn's turf was very thick. A lot of our guys tripped on it. This was the best field conditions all year for any road game, in my estimation. Now, I'm not there. I'm not a grass expert. Maybe I should call Cheech and Chong to weigh in. Hey, get that joke? But no, Tari, we just played soft. And I think if a defensive player was sitting right here, they would tell you the same thing. Sucks. Okay? What a Biggie Bowl. Play the game. This is what I've been telling people. A&M isn't garbage. They're young. Imagine when they figure it all out. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they played like it was their last game. And you know what they say? Play every snap as if it's your last. They were more desperate than us. And look, you know, let me phrase it this way, and I feel like this is the best way to phrase this on a macro level. Okay. There you go. Joshua got the joke. Let's go to Rick. Thank you to Monica joined the Patreon. Thank you so much, Monica. I appreciate you. Let's go to Steve's question here. All right. I'm going to explain this the best way I can explain it. Didn't matter on the 2-point conversion, but why did he go for it? So, Steve, I'm going to disagree with you on the first part. It does matter because that was actually a really bad decision to go for 2. And I'll explain why here. But let me put this up on the screen really quickly. And while I've defended and criticized Jayden, this is part of why Jayden struggles as a quarterback. And I'm going to show you this shot right here. Now, it's a still shot, and the game does move faster than what is shown here. Okay. But let's show this really quickly. Breathing kind of hard, my guy. It's amazing. It's always the letter avatars that make their first comment something totally negative. Breathing kind of hard. I'm talking. What do you want me to do? Do you not want me to breathe? You just want me to. Really good stuff. I'm telling you. Thank you. So right here, the 2-point conversion, this throw has to be made to Kayshawn. Now, it's a difficult throw, and you'll see at the goal line, there is a linebacker right in Jayden's throwing lane. So Ryan Day has a really good seminar, and obviously Ryan Day is under a lot of heat right now, way more heat than Brian Kelly. But Ryan Day has a good seminar on red zone throwing. Right here, Jayden has got to make this throw to Kayshawn, who is the wide receiver to the top left corner of your screen, the receiver to the top of the screen, if you will. The ball has to be thrown high and towards the goalpost in the back of the end zone. And Kayshawn actually is really good at making those kind of catches. In fact, he caught a 2-point on a top shelf throw from Max Johnson his true freshman year. So let me catch my breath because I'm breathing so hard. He's got to, throw the football to Kayshawn in the top back corner of the end zone. So, Steve, if I breathed while I answered that question, I'm sorry. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm getting called garbage. I'm getting called a clown. I'm getting criticized for you're breathing kind of hard, my guy. When you do a post-game show for an hour, aren't you going to breathe? Carter Vader. Huh? Speaking of Vader, I love that. Don't you just love that? Don't you just love when things just kind of coincide? Let me catch my breath here. When you scrutinize a team like A&M has been, they're going to play their best for the last game of the season. That's why Texas A&M brought it to us. They definitely got up for this game. They definitely don't like us. They definitely had a lot of friends on the opposing sideline. So yeah, I mean that's why Texas A&M brought it to us. They played spectacular football tonight, and that was a vintage Jimbo Fisher team. That's how a lot of Jimbo Fisher teams won at Florida State. Good running game, great play action game. Receivers like Kelvin Benjamin, who made amazing 50-50 catches. That was vintage Jimbo Fisher. And sometimes you get unlucky, right? Now, I'm telling you, Tari, I cover this team 24/7, 365. I've devoted my entire life to building an LSU community of fans to the point where I'm getting to go to Atlanta next week. Okay? Now, here's the funny thing about it. Okay? People watching me right now are frustrated. They want to call me garbage. They want to call our players garbage. They want to do everything. Don't you think I'm mad? Don't you think I'm disappointed? Don't you think that I'm emotional about what happened tonight? I try and be as nuanced as I possibly can. I try and be as fair as I possibly can. But my favorite team choked. I am sad. I am angry, just like all of you. But this is just one game in a season. We have outkicked our coverage all season long. Okay? Like Vader. Luke, I am your father. It's funny because Tari's had the Vader mask for so I'm emotional tonight. Your first comment is, "Oh, you're breathing heavy." Really? Really? You're breathing heavy tonight. A critique of my breath. The thing that everybody has to do to exist. Bounce back. See you in Atlanta. What's up, Kobe? Good to see you. Jacobian, I am expecting a big-time bounce back next week, man. Good to see you. Stetson Bennett at Georgia threw for 140 today, and Georgia still beat Georgia Tech by 23. Why the Georgia defense? They all need to stop blaming JD5 for everything. A little bit of false equivalency here. Georgia Tech is objectively bad with not great players. A&M was at home. Okay. I will admit Georgia's better and their defense is better. Okay. But A&M's got better players than Georgia Tech. On paper, we are not better than Texas A&M's players. Okay. We have a better team than Texas A&M. We probably beat them 7 to 8 times out of 10. But they played an unbelievable game tonight. Okay. Now, this is obviously a really good question. Does this win for A&M keep some key players from entering the portal? I think it does, right? This will make it a lot easier for Jimbo to sell to the Jacoby Matthews, the Bryce Andersons, and some of the younger players that they have that had LSU ties to say, look, you see, we beat them down. We not only beat them, we beat them down. Come back next year and we will be ready to make a run for it. This does a lot for A&M's confidence, right? True freshman quarterback, it's a big win. Also, something else that we can learn from this, or players can learn from this, Connor Weidman elected to burn his red shirt tonight and play in this final game. He is the guy for next year, okay? So maybe preserving red shirts is overrated. Maybe it is. Because now they are going to build everything around this kid, and he's really talented. You saw him tonight. Okay. Don't be soft like the Tigers were tonight. Ruthless ranting. I'm emotional tonight, to be honest. I'm aggravated. Kayshawn, if I'm Kayshawn, I come back and pray Walker starts. Yeah, I mean, look, I will say this. If you are a receiver, Walker is going to be more of your traditional throw the football quarterback, right? So, one honest critique about Jayden is, he does miss receivers. The payoff, though, is he doesn't throw a lot of interceptions and he makes a lot of the plays with his legs. Tonight, he missed. He missed a lot. So, yeah, I mean, I think Kayshawn's gone regardless. I do. He's still going to be a first-round pick. El Nino Brown, Notre Dame troll. Told y'all big-time coaches win big-time games. What's BK's record in big-time games? Okay. Let's see. Well, we beat Alabama. I don't know if you saw that game, El Nino, because, at Notre Dame, you guys don't know what beating Alabama is like. So I can't really answer that question because it's something you can't relate to. Okay. Play Walker in the bowl game. Ooh, that's interesting. Tasty, feisty, zesty. I don't know. It's an interesting line of logic. I don't know. Let me think on that for a little bit. Good to see you again, Hitman. Kayshawn is not a first-round pick anymore. Oof. Tonight was to go to the playoffs. I hate to say that you're wrong again. We still would have had to beat Georgia. And if we do, I'm still happy with the season. Now, tell me again how you guys did tonight versus USC. I don't know. Honestly, don't know. I would guess Caleb Williams ran roughshod all over you. Might be wrong. Let me see. I'm looking at my apps here. Okay, final score. Okay. Oh, well, like I thought, Caleb Williams ran roughshod all over you. So, Notre Dame fan Nino Brown, congrats on losing to Marshall. Can't relate. Good movie, though, with McConaughey. Also, Randy Moss. Neither one of them played or coached, but... And, yeah, you got beat by USC. Played them tight, though. Tight game, I'll give you that. But I would recommend you focus on yourself. Okay. What's up, Vic? Good to see ya. Big part of our Patreon and Discord is Vic. Good to see you, Rick. I could say the same about you. Okay. Telling you, man, he is one of the toughest sons of guns. I don't know how he has stayed upright. There was a hit he made that I think the dirtiest player in the SEC this year has been Dallas Turner. And Dallas Turner did this cheap shot. And we our players in the past have done it. And I'll do a film study on it just for you this week, Amacat, where he whipped his legs so he could fold Jayden's legs in two. Okay? And ironically, an Alabama player, Kenyon Drake, has begged for football at all levels for this type of tackle to be banned. And it was kind of like what happened versus Texas A&M. Okay, and I'll do a film study on this week. Okay, y'all hold me to it. All right, Victoria, Rick, any of my patrons, please remind me to do a film study on this week. Okay, so I don't know how Jayden gets up after all these hits. He gets hit in his legs a lot. He might just be elastic. I don't know. He's tough. He's one of the toughest QBs I've ever seen. But that hit versus Alabama and this hit tonight that rolled his ankle. Okay, so once again, I'll put it back up. Zay, thank you for your super chat. We're going to get to it right now. So, Jayden, this is where he got hit. Okay. Good night, Jordan. We'll see you. So, Jayden not throwing this football top shelf to Kayshawn got himself hurt later on this play. Okay. But you got to rip it. Right? So, Mike knows exactly the tackle I'm talking about. It could be brutal. Notre Dame hasn't won a title since the Great Depression. But hey, they got Nuke Rockney or whatever his name is. So, in poll, okay. Lame. You know you're getting destroyed in an argument when you just say lame. I'm about to do something lame and block you. Man, this is about to be called Power Hour LSU with Dikembe because it's a block party tonight, baby. Dallas Turner also injured Ewers. That was actually a clean hit, but yeah, he's got some dirty to him. Garner was fine tonight. What's up, Aaron? Good to see you. Now, imagine being a Notre Dame fan and running here to gloat after your team lost. 2. Anything to make them feel better, Jackson. They're a lost fan base. Okay. And honestly, Marcus Freeman deserves a lot of credit for turning around their season. And they lost tonight to arguably the best player in the sport, Caleb Williams. But you still come here to troll. Okay. It's one thing if you come here one time and say you choked. That's fine because we did. But the constant trolling, it's crazy. Huh? I love it. So, look, I might be breathing hard tonight. I don't care. I only breathe so I can exist. I'm sure some LSU fans do, but none of the people on my channel. Don't forget, Black Friday deals, powerhourlsu.com. It'll make my night if you guys rock my merch. Black Friday deals, powerhourlsu.com. The best way to celebrate the holidays is to get them a nice warm hoodie, powerhourlsu.com. Okay? Everybody, welcome Kevin to the channel. We need defensive line depth. I agree, Carter. Good season this year. That wasn't expected. Look up for LSU next year. I can't wait. Can't wait to tailgate with you guys again. Elijah, thank you for your service. Everybody, welcome Elijah to the channel. Still had an amazing season. A&M celebrating like they're going to a bowl game. Well, they should. They have nothing to celebrate for this year. Okay. I'll tell you this, at least it wasn't Max Johnson at quarterback. That would have been killer. I would have much rather lose to Connor Weidman. I know, Leonard. But the good news, Leonard, is I have the PHLU shirts that you've been asking me for right there. PowerHourLSU.com. Two or three not good as one. I'm waiting for that Kenny Chesney, baby. Huh? How do I live on after this loss? Whew. I don't know, Sir Galahad. I'll tell you this. As bad as tonight was, it wasn't nearly as bad as the last time a really good running back ran all over us and cost us a big loss, and that was 2007. There will never be a loss quite like that one to Darren McFadden in a regular season game. Carter, thank you for a great regular season thoughts and analysis. Will we have natty talent next year or the following year? Catching my breath after I breathe heavily before I answer this next question. We'll have natty talent next year for this reason. We have a national championship schedule. We have a lot of things that go in our favor. Our final 3 games are at home. So we don't have any cold weather games next year. We don't have any road games in November outside of the Alabama game, which we'll have a bye week to prepare for. So our schedule is really backloaded, right? We play Arkansas early in the year and Florida later in the year. The schedule is radically different next year. We'll have no rent-to-wins to end the year, which is fine. So it's going to be a radical season, a weird season, but a very favorable season. So we'll see. The hats are coming out and they will be sold separately. So yeah, and shout out to all your support. And you guys know I love to show people rocking the PHL merch. The OG shirts are still on sale. Just hit me up if you want that. And all OG shirts come with a card. And in honor of his great performance tonight, I do have a John Emery autograph card that I will give out. There's Marcus in his shirt. That's me and some PHLers. There is Sherry Berry and Jay Hill. Oh, what a great season. It's me and Jared right there. And Doug knows there's Rick in his shirt. Here's my favorite shirt photo. The man of the hour, Leonard. I love seeing you rock the PHL gear. Okay. What's up, Damon? I know you're newer. Good to see you. Zay saying I would have rather have lost to Georgia instead of lose this game. I agree with you, but whatever. Huh? I honestly am starting to think that, but of course, if we beat Georgia, we win the SEC championship. Glenn, good to see you. Everybody, welcome Glenn to the channel. If the refs didn't screw LSU on that last TD call, would have been a one-score game as LSU was blasting. True, but we would have needed an onside kick too. So, and screw is a tough word, right? Refs have been consistent on those 50-50 catches that you have to maintain possession all the way to the ground. Okay? So, there you go. Do we make the the Cheez-It Bowl with how bad Georgia's going to beat us next week? Maybe, because, you know, the loss is really hurtful for our bowl chances simply because if we do get beat down next week, Alabama's going to get a way better bowl than us. Tennessee's going to get a way better bowl than us. And that's all there is to it. So, you know, this loss really does hurt us, especially since it was to one of the two teams in the West that isn't going to a bowl game. But, you know, that's all there is to it. Okay. Mark says, our favorite team got beat on both sides of the ball. They did not choke. Sorry to break it to you, Mark, but that is the definition of choking. Getting thoroughly beaten in a big spot. You choked. I don't like to sugarcoat things. I love this team more than anything. I can't sugarcoat this. We choked. And Mark, you've been supporting me for a while. Until you call what it is, you know? That wasn't just like one player made one big mistake and we choked. We choked. Beat a 4-17, control essentially your own destiny next week. That to me is a choke. Now, would I say A&M did more to win it than we did to lose it? I would. I'd be the first to tell you. A&M played like they should have played all year. And how on earth can a team that barely beat UMass do what they did tonight? Your guess is as good as mine. Okay? I would love this, but we played them the first game in Orlando. I would love a rematch versus Florida State. Love it. Or a rematch versus Kansas State. Okay. So, LSU 11-3 will be okay. I love it. Now, I know tonight has been a night of a lot of bad. But let's get to something really good. Someone that has supported us all the way to where we are right now. And we always talk about them an hour into a live stream. I think Skipper has already mentioned them. And Simper is our winner tonight for the Presley Collection and the PresleyCollection.com. If this is your first time, I want to introduce you here to my lovely fiance. Hey. There she is in London, England, right after I popped the question, and that bling bling on her left finger is brought to you by the Presley Collection and PresleyCollection.com. Okay? Necklaces, diamond rings, all the things. Presley Collection. Boom! PresleyCollection.com. And it's not just female jewelry. It's male jewelry. It's all kinds of jewelry. Before you buy your next piece of jewelry, please get with me, and I'll get you a one-on-one consultation with the Presley Collection and PresleyCollection.com. I have people on this channel that swears by Anthony Starr Presley because, well, they've been clients of his. So, there you go. Mail you some diamonds. I can't do it. Star's got to. There you go, LA Mom. Simper beat you tonight. It's good to see you, man. Appreciate you, Cameron. Yeah, she normally makes an appearance. She's really hurt about tonight as well. LA Mom, I could see you sprinting to your phone. You know I love you. Cotton Bowl versus Tulane, and we lose. LOL. I would love to play Tulane. Last time we played Tulane, we did not play our best football. I'll tell you that. But they had a guy by the name of Matt Forte on their team. They were tough. Okay. Brandon, welcome to the channel. Brandon, I'll answer your question if you change your letter avatar. Okay. Notice I show love to people that doesn't have the letter avatar. Okay. I like seeing your beautiful faces. I probably won't recover this game till the rematch. Yeah, it's tough. It's brutal. But look, would you rather be where we are right now with the win versus Texas A&M and a loss to Alabama? Or would you rather have the opposite? This year has been phenomenal. Okay. We can admit that. And at the same time, talk about how we choked a huge opportunity here to potentially win the whole shebang. Because it is up in the air. It is very winnable for anybody this year. Every elite team that we thought was elite has proved to be beatable. Okay. Georgia has had some games this year where they haven't been amazing. Ohio State, this was picked to be their year. They sucked. They sucked big time today. Michigan barely beat Illinois last week. Alabama, we beat them. All the elites were down this year. This was a big opportunity for us. There she is. Beat us with the less I formation. It was a lot of traditional, and they did have some fullback. It just sucks. I think that also kind of shocked LSU tonight. You don't really play a lot of that anymore, right? You don't play a whole lot of smash mouth left and right. And one thing I think is very important to keep in mind is, yes, LSU has been a really good come from behind team, but, you know, the truth is starting slow has just hurt us so much. Our offense struggles to dig itself out of holes. And, you know, when we started well, our offense has played well. Now, we have still come back from slow starts. We really have. But, you know, it really does set the tone. It really, really, really does. So, yeah. Yeah, but Georgia at their worst is better than LSU at their best. Ooh. Well, I guess I don't know. I really don't know what to say about that. I guess you watched Men in Black and Will Smith jumped out of the screen and before punching you, he did one of those flashy things. And you completely forgot about the 2019 LSU team that was at their best and destroyed Georgia with one of their really good teams. In fact, they're the last team to ragdoll Georgia. But with a name like Name and, whatever profile photo this is, you actually quite literally won't put a name to a face or a face to your really crappy opinions. Oh, this isn't 2019. Didn't know that. Didn't know Joe Burrow wasn't our quarterback this year. You are really, really, really showing me something. Yeah, Joshua, I saw it. Obviously, I'll respond to it after the stream. Okay. Isaac, thank you for all your generosity recently. I really appreciate you. So if we beat Georgia, there will just be no SEC team in the playoff. That would be nuts. No, it's not the case. If Georgia loses, they're still in. They're still in. Okay. Because it would be a little bit different, Isaac, if Ohio State had played a little bit better versus Michigan. Let's say Ohio State lost in a knockout drag out versus Michigan. They would have a lot stronger case than getting blown out on their home field. If LSU beats Georgia next week, yes, LSU isn't a team as good as Michigan, but Georgia would have more marquee wins. They wouldn't have an unbelievable amount of marquee wins. Their biggest win of the year is beating down Tennessee at home. But really, the biggest loser here, Isaac, is Tennessee. Tennessee really hurt themselves by losing last week to South Carolina. But obviously, TCU playing the way that they did today proves that they are truly, truly, truly good. Scudda Jason, one of my best buddies on the channel. I appreciate Jason's truthfulness and knowledge over the years. If they want to beat Georgia, they got to control the line of scrimmage. Georgia has a pile of depth on both sides. It's true. They are deeper on both lines of scrimmage. We are very thin. We have a 3-man rotation at defensive tackle. 3. One injury to Mason Smith should not end our depth at defensive tackle. We trust 3 DTs, okay? Roy, Wingo, and Guillory. Obviously, Roy and Wingo are superstars. Guillory is really solid backup, but you got to have more than 3. You just do. And obviously, that other end position, Ali Gay has, been up and down. Wasn't his best game tonight, okay? But, I've got to be honest about this, Jason. You're so right about this. And even when Jalen Carter was out this year for Georgia, they really didn't miss a beat. This is a year after they lost Jordan Davis, Travon Walker, and Wyatt, 3 defensive linemen that went in the first round. And they lost Nolan Smith, their Jack. So, yeah, I mean, they're so deep, so talented. We're just not as deep. And our front, our starters are as talented as their starters. But after that, it gets a little shaky. It just does, right? And their offensive line's really, really, really good. I don't mind trolls at all. If you win, talk your ish. But these takes are so freaking bad. Come up with something better. Yeah. But I've learned to not get too high or too low with anybody. what Corey said earlier this in the stream, that bother me? Not really. I'm used to seeing ignorant takes. I really am. Oh, Danny, you're driving home? Oh, yeah, that's right. I hate that for you. Well, I'll be up, so give me a shout. Let's see. Going to the game. Gonna rep all the way. Oh, you're going? I'm still going. We definitely need Josh Williams back. He brings so much physicality. He does. Now, did John and Noah play really well tonight? They did. They really did. Our running backs had another good, solid outing. But Josh has been better than those two, and we did miss him tonight. Now, there's going to be some discussions about could Josh have gone, right? Maybe. But I also understood the logic that Noah Cain had been playing so well versus Arkansas and versus UAB. I understood not putting Josh out there knowing that you have a game next week versus Georgia. But it does suck knowing that we lost tonight without two of our more experienced and seasoned veterans. We didn't have Converse on defense. We didn't have Josh on offense. Should that have mattered? No. We still should have found a way to win this game. Okay? At this point, yes. At this point, Guillermo Miranda. Okay?
I mean, obviously, well, I mean,
So, yeah. So let's get to some of Brian Kelly's thoughts on tonight.
obviously, disappointed. Our players, understand that, each and every week in this league, you're going to be challenged, and we were challenged by a team that played in Texas A&M very well today. Their players made plays. We didn't make some of the plays that we have normally made, and we just weren't our best today. I'd like to give you a reason why we weren't, but we just weren't our best today, and we needed to be better. I don't want to minimize it. As I said, we're all very disappointed. We very much wanted to finish strong, and that didn't happen. I think, again, I could break down the game in so many different ways, but it just wasn't our best, and our best was needed today, and we didn't have it. So.
You have a question, raise your hand. Just what stood out with the run defense and kind of why it stand out as it was?
I mean, we didn't do our job as coaches. We didn't do our job as players. We didn't get our job done today. I wish I could give you a specific answer, but I'd have to bring in so many different things that happened defensively. We didn't get our jobs done, and very disappointed because of that.
Coach, the 2-point conversion at the end there, what's sort of the analytical thing behind a decision like that?
The analytics say go for 2. So if you don't get it there, you've got another chance to go for 2 and still have the opportunity to, obviously tie the game up.
I mean, just the message to the guys after something like that.
Yeah.
Still playing for a lot next week. But
Right.
What's the locker room how like that?
That this is hard, and they've been great all year. They've done incredible things. They've changed everything that they have known in terms of their routine and the way they think and their habits. And it's always great to have a marching band, right as you're going through it, especially after you lose a game. But you have to do it consistently. You have to. You can't just rely on talent. Talent's got to make plays. Traits have got to be present every single day, and when you flip the switch to performance, you've got to be able to bring those with you. And we just, for some reason, we're off today, and it's my job to get this team prepared, and I didn't get them prepared the way they needed to be today. They were off today, and I'm disappointed in that.
A&M converted 10 or 15 third downs tonight.
I'm well
What was
aware.
maybe the reason for that?
What was the reason? It's we didn't do our job. We were not very good at getting off the field, executing, bending people back. I mean, we were off today. This was not a team that you had normally seen during the year, and I can't give you a great answer. We didn't make the plays that we normally make. We didn't have the same fire that we normally have. And that falls on my shoulders too. I got to get our team prepared and ready, and I obviously did not do a very good job.
Jayden Daniels fumbled there in the third quarter. It seemed like y'all maybe started to take control of that game. How much did that end up really feeling like things shifted afterwards?
I think there were some, I think you're right. I think there were some momentum swings there. Obviously, we came out in the second half. We got the quick stops and we got the score. Thought we got the thing back in order. And, again, it was one of those things where, you wish you could have, done it all over again in terms of what happened in that situation. But it is what it is. The ball comes out. It's a huge play. That momentum swing, I don't know that we ever really recovered from it, quite frankly.
Matt, Coach 2 for you. Jar Bernard Converse out today for
Concussion.
in the middle of the field for them. Stewart had a lot of slants, wide open. Was it one-on-one matchups with the scheme?
Yeah, I mean, he's a talented player. We have a job to do, and that is take away the inside, and we need to do a better job coaching, and we need a better job playing in that situation.
Their wide receiver making these one-handed catches too. I mean, this is kind of what you thought, right? That they had the talent and they could rise to the occasion. Is that just kind of what they did today?
They're good players. Played really, really well. Achain was outstanding. His cutback ability. He was very difficult today. Muhammad, Stewart, quarterback played well. I thought their best players played to their level today. There was great energy in the stadium. we didn't match it. And our best players needed to make great plays. We fell short in that area, and I fell short in preparing them.
How is Jayden? He went down a couple times.
Yeah, he's got an ankle. It was the ankle was the last one. The first hit, I think he bounced back from that. The second one was more of an ankle.
Just in the past game, what did you see Jayden and how aggressive he was, or just how he was?
I thought he did a great job protecting himself, sliding protections. I thought he was as good as he's been all year in terms of protecting himself and doing a great job in protections. They ran a lot of two-man. So, they got, 2 or 3 holding calls. Could have been a lot more. It is what it is. I'm not here to talk about officiating. I thought he did a pretty good job. You get behind in those situations. It's a little bit more difficult to dropping 8 into coverage. I thought we got back into the game. We're in a pretty good position. The turnover, obviously, that results into a touchdown, changes the game. But I think he was pretty good, in terms of recognizing what was going on back there.
Do you think that your team overlooked A&M with Georgia coming up next week?
No, I don't think so. I just don't. I really can't put my finger on it. They've worked so hard all year. I think A&M played really well today. I thought their energy was great. I thought that their best players played at a high level. They made a lot of plays. But again, I've singled out this one particular play where we turned it over into a touchdown. It was a big momentum change. Fact of the matter is, we had a great week of practice. The guys did a nice job all week. We probably, if I look at our preparation, it's that, 24 hours out, leading into the game, we needed more juice, more fire. And we just seem to lack that a little bit today. And that's on me.
Coach, you take 2 more, Garland. You have 1.
Coach Kelly, talking about fleshing it out quickly, it's you don't have a non-conference game next week. You got the #1 team in the country. How do you get the message to the kids? I mean, because kids can kind of hold these kind of losses. How do you get in their skulls fast?
Yeah, we've already talked about it, and we're pretty much, I would say, moving down the road already. They know what happened tonight. They understand our process, and what they need to do, and what maybe wasn't done to the level it needs to be done each and every week tonight. But man, I'm so proud of what they've done. It's just so hard. I mean, to do it each and every week in this league. And, we ran into a team that played really well tonight at home. And we just didn't have what it took tonight for whatever reason. And we'll learn from this.
Coach, this year, what y'all have faced, kind of, in your words, would you say that you guys have overachieved, even though you do know the SEC championship is up next week, and this is your first year with a group that you didn't even know half of their names when you got here?
I knew 33% of them.
Okay.
No, I get your point. I don't want to say overachieved, but I think that they have done some incredible things. And I don't want this loss to it at all take away from what they've accomplished this year. This is one of the most enjoyable years that I've had in my career, and watching these kids grow. This was not a step back. This was a bump in the road where they're going to learn from it and understand how hard it is each and every week in this league. And you have to be ready, especially on the road, and a talented team that came ready tonight to play and made plays. And if we take care of the football late, who knows what happens, but they fought. I mean, they kept fighting. But yes, I would say that I'm really pleased with what our kids accomplished this year. Thanks for asking the question. Thank you.
So there you go. It's Brian Kelly after the game. You want to hear me breathing? What's up? You should get to see. Gonna take some time, but GD, forever LSU, wasn't ready for this, but forever LSU. Thank you so much, Yusha, for your friendship. I appreciate you. Yeah, that holding call after Jayden was passed and had a first down, then 3rd and 16, and the scoop and score was like a tsunami, but we didn't give up. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't like the selectiveness of holding calls, but you know, we've already done the film study. We still should have completed the 3rd and 16. That was another bad rep by Jayden. He should have stepped up in the pocket and hit Jack Bash. I'll play the film study again if you haven't missed it. If you want me to play the film study again, type Y for yes. And I will happily play it again. Okay. How do you address this? Calling Jayden not a good quarterback when the team went 9-3 and won the SEC is just honestly not truth. Like, it's just not truthful. Like you've got to have nuance with this. Is he a limited QB? Hey, he's a limited QB. But be honest, right? Were you saying this after the Alabama game where he did the same thing? He missed some throws. Still won the game, right? To just say he's a bad quarterback is not like, it's not based in truth. Is he a special elite quarterback? Is he Bryce Young? No, he's not. How many Bryce Youngs exist? Right? How many Bryce Youngs exist? I'm being honest. You know, I could say also this as well. Let's take a quarterback who's on the opposite end of the spectrum here, who plays in a better offensive system, who has better offensive weapons than Jayden Daniels has, right? Let's take CJ Stroud, for instance. The opposite is true. He is not a good quarterback when things break down. He is not a good quarterback as an improvisational QB. Now, is he a better quarterback than Jayden? Probably. But, you know, this mythical idea that these perfect quarterbacks exist is not rooted in any kind of truth. It's just not. So, you know, this life is great, right? Some quarterbacks have some things that they do really well. Some quarterbacks have some things that they don't do very well. So, you know, be honest, be fair. And I couldn't have said it any better than this. He didn't win the most recent game that comes to memory equals he's the worst quarterback to exist ever. Oblivious fan take. You can't, like, if you say that Jayden is a garbage quarterback, say it after all the games, right? I am very shocked that in a game that we lost today, where Jayden played better than he did in the Arkansas game, where he was abysmal, you notice, because we won the Arkansas games, you can go look at my live chat. There's not as many Jayden sucks. He's just a flat-out bad quarterback. But after this game, where Jayden had a good first quarter, he had a good second quarter, had a really bad third quarter, and had a middle-of-the-road fourth quarter, you get this. How much can you put this on LSU taking it easy for Thanksgiving while A&M were giving it all their practice all week? Okay? You know you're drinking straight vodka if you make the same comment twice. Huh? 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 Michael, it's tough to say the answer to this because I don't know how much A&M actually prepared for this week, more than we prepared for this week. I do think it is a huge advantage to be at home during the Thanksgiving week than be on the road for the Thanksgiving week. It does knock you out of your routine. It does. It does make some players homesick. It does. But South Carolina, after the biggest win that they've had in eons, played arguably just as good, if not better, versus Clemson in a road environment, in a rivalry environment, in a spot where Clemson was still focused, still in the playoff hunt. It's tough, right? It's really, really hard. So, I would like to blame the Thanksgiving week, but it wasn't that. Forever LSU, period. Tattoo told me it was a trap game. Didn't believe him. Moral of the story, trust Ukrainian man. Forever LSU. Hey, man, it was a trap game. And it was tough. It was really, really, really tough. So, all of this sucks. All of this sucks. Really, really, really bad. Okay? I know. So, I'll also say this. Okay? Moving forward, this is a major truth about college football. Okay? So, let's take, and I'm not comparing 2019 LSU to this current LSU, but let's take the 2019 season. Okay? And look at how many bad teams were in the SEC that year. Arkansas was bad. Vanderbilt was bad. Auburn had a true freshman quarterback. Ole Miss was bad with Matt Luke as a coach. Mississippi State with Joe Moorhead, bad, true freshman quarterback. Let's be honest. This LSU team that year probably is a one-loss team. And we probably would have lost to the 2019 version of Alabama. And that's it. Might have lost another one in there. This is the truth. Okay? What this weekend taught us in the SEC. All right? Because, I predicted Tennessee to blow the brakes off of Vanderbilt, and they did 56-0 with a backup quarterback in Joe Milton. Okay? I also had the under in that game. So I had a parlay at Vanderbilt covering and the under. I thought the score was going to be like 35-10 or something like that. But Tennessee looked good. It looked really good today with a backup quarterback. All right? 56-0 in a rivalry game with a backup quarterback transfer who was a backup to another transfer. What tonight showed me, when I look at the rest of the SEC and I look at Clemson getting beat by South Carolina, I look at Missouri beating Arkansas, I look at a lot of these 6-6, 7-5, 8-4 teams in the SEC. This conference is more even than it's ever going to be. With the transfer portal being the way that it is, you better be ready to go. Okay? Let's go to TJ Super Chat. This feels like 2018, whether it's Jayden or Walker in a few years. BK will have us in contention in a few years, I believe. The season does have a 2018 kind of feel to it, right? You had a rough road loss to Texas A&M. You had a rough, close loss in, a close-ish game. Camera battery died. Let's go to the backup. So, with the transfer portal era, I'm telling you right now, there's going to be so many 2-loss teams. It's insane, right? It's insane how many good teams there are in the SEC now. Now, there's not a lot of great teams, but I think you're going to have more 2-loss division champions. I do. 9-3 beating Bama and winning the SEC West. And what was supposed to be a rebuilding year in BK, I trust he's going to get us a natty very soon. Go Tigers. I love this super chat. Best one of the night. There we go. But yeah, did Bo Nix win that award? Because he beat Justin Herbert in one game. Okay. All right. I will give Max a lot of credit here. All right. I pride myself on objectivity. All right. I'm a fan just like you. I love this team as much as you do. All right. So the simple truth is Max is one of our most solid viewers. Got to give him a lot of credit. He picked Texas A&M to beat us. He thought that they were going to come out and play like champions, like it was their last game. There's something to be said about the last game of the year. Teams play hard. Teams play together. It's a different team. Okay. I will say this. All right. Before I answer this question about Max, a lot of my really, really, really good buddies in a group chat that I'm in with no other LSU fans took LSU heavy. And I was telling them, and they were asking me, hey, I like LSU minus 10. I like them all the way up to minus 14. I was like, Texas A&M hates us. They would love to do anything more to spoil our season. Carter had the same energy all year about JD5, good or bad. I like him, but he's not a dude, in my opinion, to get us to the natty. So do you look to future at quarterback and see what Walker Howard has? He would beat out Nuss. Okay. So let's take a look at this from a few angles. Do you play Jayden Daniels versus Georgia? Unequivocally, yes, if he is fully healthy. You have to. But what about the bowl game? What do you do about the bowl game? Obviously, for the long-term health of the program, I think it would be interesting to see what a starter like Walker Howard or Garrett Nussmeier would be like in a bowl game spot. You learn a lot about a quarterback when he becomes a first-team guy. When you rep the whole week of practice surrounding that person and the game plan is surrounded to your strengths, it would be interesting to experiment with the bowl game to see what he has, right? Because you do have to ask this question. And this is what I said after the Arkansas game about Jayden Daniels, okay? He is a high floor, low ceiling quarterback. He's going to win you a lot of games, right? But is he going to be so good that you can win a national championship? And I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't. because you do have games like Alabama where he, quite frankly, in the fourth quarter of that game, took over. He won the game in an all-out quarterback duel. In the eyes of a Heisman Trophy winner, he outdueled him. Okay, but you do question, what about all these other games? You know, in 5 games on the road, 4 on the road, 1 in a neutral site. We go to YouTube Super Chat here. Natty, in 3 years, we'll be here. Go Tigers. What is the likelihood that we make a New Year's Six bowl, assuming we lose to Georgia? What does our bowl situation look like with Bama and UT finishing above us? Not good. You start getting more into the Outback bowl kind of region because you become a 4-loss team. You might be a little bit better than the Outback Bowl. You might get the Cotton Bowl, but Tennessee is objectively ahead of us now. We choked in the same fashion that they choked last week. We just did. There's no other way around it. And this is something else that Tennessee has over us. And I was all over Tennessee last week, choking versus South Carolina, and they deserve all the blame in the world for allowing that to happen. We have not dominated teams like Tennessee has dominated teams this year. What they did tonight versus Vanderbilt with a backup quarterback, I know it's Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's decent. You know, they had more wins at Texas A&M, like right now. They did. Now, they're not better than Texas A&M, but they had a better season. They 56-0'd them. They 44-6 Kentucky. They 40-13 us. They blow teams out. That's impressive. So they are going to get a better bowl than us if we don't beat Georgia. Alabama's going to get a better bowl than us because they have also dominated teams. We have not dominated a single Power 5 team this year where we throttled them from the first quarter to the fourth quarter. Okay? Florida was back and forth, had a really good third quarter, middle of the game, allowed them to get back in it. Every other game, we just kind of found ways to win that game. Now, it is a win, but, you know, in college football, how you win and how you lose does play into the evaluation process. It's just how it works. So, yeah, Tennessee Tennessee doing what they did to Vanderbilt, it's going to take us beating Georgia to get a better bowl than Alabama and Tennessee, okay? So, I know it sucks. I grew up with my dad going to a ton of Sugar Bowls. I would love to go to a Sugar Bowl in New Orleans. I would love to do that. Not going to happen now unless we beat Georgia. Okay? We dominated Ole Miss. Yes, we eventually did. We were down 17-3. They missed a walk-in touchdown to Jonathan Mingo, and that miss changed the momentum of the game. And we played Harold Perkins. And then after that, we dominated them. But I'm talking first quarter to fourth quarter, dominate an opponent, right? We have not done that to a team this year. We haven't. Now, it's not me complaining about it. Don't take that as me complaining. I don't care how you win. Ultimately, it really doesn't. Teams win in different ways. But God bless. You know, Tennessee had one bad offensive game all year, and that was on the road versus Georgia, and they missed their shots. They did actually get behind them some. I would say we dominated Ole Miss. We eventually ended up dominating them. Okay, we did. So, Ole Miss, Florida. But I will also say this, okay? You guys know I'm not an end result person. I am happy with the end result that we had this year. SEC West champion. Very happy about that. Going to play Georgia and Atlanta. No matter what the result is, it's going to be a good learning experience no matter. But how many times would you say in quarters did we dominate Power 5 opposition where we were controlling the entire environment of the game? It's hard to really find those spots. Now, Florida offensively, we were dominant from first quarter, midway through the third quarter, and at times in the fourth. Okay? So I'll give you that. Ole Miss game offensively were really good the entire way. But for the most part, it's hard to find spots where we just controlled everything. Okay? And once again, that's me just, pointing that out, not complaining. It's hard to do that. The other teams have good players as well. We beat Mississippi State worse than we beat Florida if you focus on in results, right? That's not true. We were losing in that game until they muffed a punt, okay? Then it took some clutch fourth quarter drives for us to get up by 8. Then their defense fell apart on the second half of a back-to-back road game. And we had a touchdown where their defense just disintegrated, and we won the game by, 13, 14 points. Florida, we were dominating that game. We were winning by 21, and we kind of just backed in and allowed them to get back into the game. Then we ultimately won by 10. Okay? Now, would you say on the road versus Florida, was that a better win than beating Mississippi State at home? I would say they're about even. Okay? So, there you go. That's just, can you imagine saying A&M is clearly better than LSU at this point in the season after barely getting by UMass and having 4 fewer losses? You were better tonight. You have 4 fewer losses than the team you beat tonight. After beating them, 4 fewer losses, not more, fewer. And you barely beat UMass last week. Now you whipped us tonight. I'll be the first to tell you that. But Phillip, you got carried away with this one. Okay. It's a good way to look at it, Cameron. Good to see you. Thank you for all your support. Stopped them multiple times. We didn't need that muff. We probably didn't need it to win the game, but that essentially gave it away. Mississippi State was not the same team after that. And you could say we stopped them, which we did. I'll tell you that. Harold Perkins was phenomenal. Our defense was phenomenal. Jay Ward was Defensive Player of the Week. But you look at that game, they did drop 3 passes right in the breadbasket that would have been good for first downs, if we're being honest, okay? So, it's important to have nuance with that. Now, would we have still ended up beating Mississippi State? I don't know. Without the muff. It's just too tough to say. Slade Roy made that play, getting in his face and then recovering the fumble. So there you go. I don't think Phillip has any chew. No perk on offense. I agree. It's not worth it. It's just not. Michael Penix Jr. I know I'm breathing hard, but I got to be honest. There are so many good 2-loss teams this year. Like, it's surreal, honestly, how many good 2-loss teams. The portal has changed the sport. It has fattened the middle of the game. There are so many good teams now. And I think that's good. I got in. I was with my best buddy Jake last night. He doesn't like the transfer portal. I freaking love it. I freaking love it. This is so freaking cool that these, like Washington, they have some history, right? Jake Locker, and they've had a lot of good players. But now with the portal, you get Michael Penix Jr. from Indiana, who's played in a lot of big games. A new coach and a new portal QB can change everything, right? Can change everything. Okay? Super chat. Realistically, what bowl do you think LSU gets now? Obviously, granted, if they win, if they beat Georgia, they'll obviously go to the Sugar Bowl. If they don't, once again, you're looking at Outback Bowl. You're looking at a lot of these middle tier bowls, because if we don't beat Georgia, Tennessee and Alabama, deservingly so, even though we beat Alabama, they deserve to jump us. They do. Now, may lose some subscribers over that. That's fine. Got to give credit where credit is due. They jump us. Okay? Thank you, Yusha, because why not? In the mix. Hey, I talk so much trash on Tennessee. I know I'm going to get throttled by Tennessee fans this week. They took care of business on the road tonight. We didn't. Right? So, we'll see. Now, Ryan, obviously you're not like Philip. You're a really good LSU fan. This has really been destroying me because I've seen you two going back and forth, but you have the same avatar, essentially. So, Ryan, put an LSU avatar up. See, I got confused by this. I thought Philip for a second was talking to himself. And if he was, it would make more sense than some of the stuff he has said. Anyway, we slice it. That loss to Florida is hitting us now. Not really. Not really. Because if we would have lost to Texas A&M in this spot, it's maybe if we beat Georgia, we still get in the playoff as, a 2-loss team. But, the Florida State loss was also beneficial to us. It was a wake-up call to us. I can argue that loss did us some good. You don't know how the season goes after that. And, yeah, would you have rather have beaten Florida State to where you are right now? Yeah, of course you would have. But you didn't. So, that's all there is to it. And also, Rick, if we're being honest about this, close games involve a lot of luck. They do. Right? And, in games, look, the Florida State game, and Florida State's a really good team. We saw what they turned out to be, a really good 3-loss team like us, okay? They're a really good football team. We didn't know that Jordan Travis was as good as he has been. And honestly, he might get an invite to New York City. I think he does deserve it. He's been really good for them. Yes, we lost that game. Yes, Brian Kelly should have gone for 2. But did we deserve to really be in that game at the end? No. No, we didn't. They played off of us, which allowed us to get back into the game. And, yes, that loss ended up hurting us. But we also had a lot of 50-50 games go our way as well, right? We won the Alabama game by 1. We won the Arkansas game by 3. Both of those games could have gone either way. We won both of those games. The Mississippi State game was in the balance all the way up until the fourth quarter. So yeah, there were so many back and forth games that we played this year. And to me, the Florida State game wasn't really a back and forth game. It was, they got up by a lot and we just kind of chipped and clawed our way back into it. So Philip is saying he is a crusty old man who doesn't know what he's talking about. Yeah, Pert got banged up there. I know Aaron's hurt. You want something to bother a Texas fan? It's them seeing Texas A&M win. Yeah, Pert got banged up a little bit. We don't know how hurt he is, but we'll see. Romeo, what's up, man? Romeo was our first ever PHL merch winner. I remember that. I always remember you, Romeo. It's good to have you back. I dropped 40 F-bombs. How about you? I might have dropped one here or there. I will say that loss was worse than this one. I'm going to be honest. Even though we had no playoff chances in that loss, honestly, it still gave us our third loss. And yeah, that one hurt worse. I'm going to be honest. That one hurt worse. That one hurt way worse than this one because there was a fight after the game. I am very happy there wasn't a fight after this game. So, yeah. There you go. Here's what we're going to do. I'll answer as many questions in the next 5 minutes as I possibly can. Okay? In the next 5. But if you super chat, we'll keep this party going because I do want to get into the film study. Right? The first overtime, and then there was a pass interference. Then there was the Kellen Mond's knee was down when he threw the interception when Grant Delpit sacked him, and Devin White caught the game-winning INT, or actually it was flipped. Grant caught the interception and Devin White. I mean, A&M caught every lucky break in the book. So that one was a little bit more excruciating. Okay. Gotta have some fighting to fight after the game. We didn't have that. Yeah, true. I think we were just out of energy. Also, we're just not that deep of a team. And that also kind of showed tonight. Now, don't forget, Kind of sad. I know PHLers love themselves a good deal. Got the Black Friday sale right now with our gear. Okay. I've had no orders tonight. I guess I didn't make swagged out gear. I'm wearing my own gear right here. Okay. Order your stuff, support your family, support the channel. Weather's getting chilly. Okay. You know you want to rock the PHL gear. Okay. Say a prayer for Ukraine. Shout out to you, Yusha. I actually got my Ukraine jersey out that you sent me. I showed some of my buddies that and told them a little bit more about you. Let's go Tigers. I'll be back home in Louisiana soon. And Carter made some good content with me. LSU, let's go. Shout out to you, Yusha. My man. Yeah, man. I love you, brother. Good stuff. I mean, you admitted yourself that you've been watching for 50 years and you say something as crazy as A&M is clearly really? Really? But I do like you brought up the sweet potato pie controversy. Let you know you've been watching me this week. All good, man. Oof. Spend all that money to go 5-7. Based solely on talent, is that a top 5 team in the country? Composite wise, yes. Honestly, no. Not really. Like top 10, yeah, probably. Top 5? I'd say Alabama and Georgia still have more raw talent than them. I would say Ohio State does as well. I would say Michigan does as well. And then it's honestly probably us or them at number 5. But yeah, it's stupid how all this works. It really is. Like, you know, the thing is like with the yeah, with let's take the Orgeron game last year. Essentially, what happened last year is what happened to us this year, right? The raw talent is the same. The players really get up playing each other because of the recruiting battles. These guys know the other team. And even though, and Zach, you know me pretty well, Mike knows me pretty well, you should knows me pretty well. Good night, my man. Appreciate you. You know, I think for me, Zach, it's hard to say really. Like, for instance, if I'm a Texas A&M player, and let's take the UMass game. Let's take the UMass game for instance, right? Okay, I'm tired of Philip anyway. So yeah, you have this game versus UMass last week for Texas A&M. It's rainy, it's cold. They had 25 players out for the pregame warm-up. Some of them did end up playing, some of them didn't. What player came to Texas A&M with a losing record to play in the rain versus UMass? None of them. But how many of those players came to play against their friends that decided to go to LSU instead of Texas A&M in the final game of the year? This was the last time you were going to play with this group of players. I do think if Texas A&M was, let's say, 6-3 in this game, 6-4, if you will. Honestly, in this game, they would have been 6-5. You would have much rather played a team that already sealed their bowl fate. Okay. There is something to be said. Where do I get a hoodie? PowerHourLSU.com. Right there. That's a link. So, you know, LSU was just really bad tonight. Like, I wish there was another way for me to explain what happened, but there's not. There's not at all. I guess you hadn't been listening. I've talked about that more than anything else. Huh? Preseason, they were number 6 for a reason. Thanks to Hal. He's been a big supporter of mine. Yes, go to powerhourlsu.com. Derek, I'll send you a Twitter DM as well if you have any questions. It's going to be really good. Probably not the same, but it's going to be really good, You get 2 more games, right? I cannot stress this enough. So this comes from somebody who's been in this spot before. Okay. So my senior season, we were bad. We were a bad football team my senior year. Think about it all the time, right? Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Richard. Derek, Richard, I really appreciate you and your friendship. So let me share something with you really quickly, okay? So my senior year, we sucked. We were a 2-win team. We weren't in the playoffs, and we played a team that was better than us, right? And we were at home, and we all knew that that was our last game. We were a team with a ton of talent. We had a lot of people go play college football, and we went out and blew the team out. We blew them out. And I thought about that during the game. I was like, it's the same thing. You know, an underachieving team with a ton of talent. We had nothing else to lose. And we blew a team out. And yeah, we played together. And, you know, after that game, we kind of felt a little pissed. We're like, where was that all year? There's something to be said about your final game. The finality of something just makes things all the more emotional, right? And sometimes teams in that game have players that are ready to look forward to the next thing. Sometimes teams in that game don't, right? And if we would have won tonight, we would have been in a position that we could have played 3 more games after tonight. A&M was in a position where tonight was tonight. That's it. And they chose to come together as a team and play really well. Okay? I've pissed in cornflakes before. I've been the spoiler. But yeah, we just played our absolute best. I will add, I started that game. I was more of like a situational pass rusher. I started, I think, some games. I don't remember. I wasn't that great. But yeah. Yeah, man, everybody's aggravated. Don't forget film study tomorrow night at 7. You guys know it, right? Let's go to Zach Super Chat. We'll keep it going. Y'all thank Zach. I was getting ready to sign this thing off. If you keep Super Chatting, we'll keep going all night. I'll be up all night. I'll be looking at the film. I'll also be looking at this Michael Penix. I love me some Michael Penix, man. Let me check the score really quickly. Oh, we got ourselves a game. The Apple Cup is spicy this year. Thoughts on Denbrock moving forward? I know a lot are unhappy with his route combos. Do you see a change there? Is it mostly on JD? I'll say this, Zach, and I thought this was very bizarre. Okay, I'm gonna roll my sleeves up for this one. So we ran a lot of lane stuff last week. All right. And if you didn't watch my film study from last week, I highly recommend you do so. I think you did, Zach. We ran a lot of deep crossing routes, which are a little bit easier to complete. Okay. So, what I like about deep crossing routes, which, you know, is exactly what they are. Okay. It's one guy deep crossing to the other. Once again, a very simplified definition. I know I don't sound like Bill Walsh here explaining what it is, but that is essentially what it is. What I like about those is it allows a quarterback to throw the football into a space instead of to a receiver. Okay. It's kind of hard to explain what that means, just, you know, sitting where I am right now. But it's also on all levels of football, defenses cannot stop it. It is hard because if you're in man, You got to run with that guy all the way across the field. If you're in zone, that player is leaving one zone to somebody else's zone. So it causes confusions on multiple levels. Now, why can't you run that a lot? Well, you have to be able to protect well. We didn't do many deep crossing routes. Now, it might be different. The film might show me something different, but that's just anecdotally what I saw. Okay. So, I think, for me, it's tough without me seeing a full rewatch of it. But I thought we went away with some of the things that we did really well versus UAB. Now, what did Texas A&M do? Well, they did what a lot of teams have done versus us, and they played quarters. They played a lot of too high safety, and they kept everything in front of us. Okay. So what do you have to do if everything is kept in front of you? Well, you have to complete the intermediate stuff. Okay. Now, what that does is you cannot drop any passes because, if you drop an intermediate pass, that pass could have extended the drive. It's tough to hit explosive plays over the top. So you have to be conservative with some of your play calls. So yeah, I thought there were a few passes Jayden should have ripped, as many of you know. And I do think I will see a few more misses on the tape. I do not have all 22. I wish I did. It would make it a lot easier for me. But, it's just how it is. Don't think I ever said that, but I think you're just, stating a matter of fact. But yeah, you're right about that. Okay. And I've made that observation about Jayden plenty of times. It's amazing, right? If you have a nuanced view of Jayden Daniels, people from both sides are going to come after you. They're going to say, you are defending Jayden, like the person I blocked earlier. I'm tired of you defending Jayden. And then I have people who are Jayden, believers who say, you are too harsh on Jayden. Well, all I'm trying to do is be as honest as I possibly can. Okay? Zach, I'll tell you this. If LSU's offense comes out of the woodwork and dominates Georgia, you got to bring Denbrock back. So yeah, I don't know though. We do know Brian Kelly has fired him once before, and he's probably not afraid to do it again. Okay, Mike's a professional. He's made a lot of money. He is a millionaire many times over. So yeah. I would say no. Okay. I would say no to this question. Because it kind of goes along with this. Converse was huge tonight. Huge. But no, he didn't. This was the only game where the LSU defense for 4 quarters was thoroughly beaten. The only game. There's not another game you could point to where that was the case. They were really good against a Heisman Trophy winner in Bryce Young. Yes, we got, destroyed by Tennessee, but they were put in some really, really bad spots. Like really bad spots. Tonight was their first objectively top to bottom bad performance. That's it. So Matt House doesn't lose stock in my mind. Now he probably won't win the Broyles, but you know, he does it in my mind. Okay. So yeah, I'll defend Matt House. Do you think BK realizes that this team overachieved and can see the potential he has in young guys down there and the guys coming in next year? So yes. And he was asked about that in the post game, and he didn't want to just come out and directly say it. Monday's press conference is going to be very interesting. But yeah. I do think I will say this. Did they overachieve? Yes. Brian Kelly is a very analytical thinker. Okay. I am very analytics based. I am a believer that teams don't go for two enough. I'm a believer that teams don't go for it enough on fourth down. Brian Kelly is of that belief as well. Okay. So if you are an analytical thinker, what that tells me is you're not an end results thinker either, right? You know that end results vary. Okay. The decision you make is the right or wrong decision, regardless of the result. Okay. So a good example of this is no matter what, versus Florida State, when we elected to kick the extra point and play for overtime, whether or not we make that kick, that was the wrong decision. You go for two in the win in that spot. Then against Alabama, when you go for two in the win, that is the right decision regardless of outcome. Okay. So if Brian Kelly is being completely honest with this team, and instead of just focusing on did we win or did we lose, which that way of thinking blinded a lot of LSU fans during the Les Miles era, because a lot of the Les Miles years for LSU was a lot of, outside of 2011, was a lot of, hey, we're just going to go out there, wing it, and we might find a way to win it at the end of the game without creative offensive game plans and bad clock management, bad timeout management, bad game plan management, and so on and so on and so on. Brian Kelly doesn't look at end results. He is a big process over results thinker. If you are that, and you look at some of the wins that we won this year, okay, you will see that it is a clear team that overachieved, okay? Let's look at the facts. In 4 out of our 5 games that we played on non-Tiger Stadium soil, we did not play well offensively, okay? The only one was against Florida, who has objectively, arguably, the worst defense in the conference. So Brian Kelly will look at that and say, look, we were lucky to win 3 out of those 5 games. Okay. Almost had an opportunity to win the 4th. So, yes, I agree, Max. And Max, I know you think the same way. I don't mean to speak on your behalf, but I know you think the same way. You saw the Texas A&M loss coming. You were the only one in the pregame chat that thought Texas A&M was going to beat us. You were the only one. Okay. I know I'm talking a lot into the future, but do you think we have any plug and plays coming in 2023? So, I won't speak on some of the portal guys that I'm hearing right now because it's very sensitive information. But there are some, okay, that I feel really good about. Now, as far as plug and play guys for the class of 2023, there are some. Like, I think Shelton Sampson's a really good player. I think Caleb Jackson is a really good running back. Obviously, Zalance Hurd is going to get a long look at a potential starting job next year at tackle or guard. Kick Emery inside and put him at right tackle. I think they'll look at that. So yeah, I do think there are a few. It's going to be tough though. It's going to be tough because it's honestly rare that you have bona fide true freshman starters. So yeah, we'll see. Why wouldn't I like this? I'm a big Walker believer, a big Walker fan. Okay. Joshua said I had us going 5-7. I had this team 7-5, 8-4. So the fact that we're 9-3 is truly incredible. Okay. I don't know, Zach, and I talked to a lot of people close to us. I don't know. I really don't know. So much it just depends on how the next few months play out. But yeah, I mean, look, this kid's got a lot of talent, and he thinks he can play right now, obviously. So yeah, we'll see. So other plug-in plays, honestly, and I don't mean to bring this up, but I had a really high grade on Darron Reed. I really did. Or Darren Reed. Best of luck to him. There you go. And once again, Zach keeps dropping some 5 spots, as is Max. If you keep them coming, we'll keep chatting. But in the next 5 minutes, I'll answer as many questions as we possibly can. Appreciate you. Once again, last call right here for Black Friday sales. It's honestly Sunday. I might just extend it till Sunday. So there you go. Okay. Jordy sources say Walker's the best quarterback on the roster now, and he is BK's guy. Yeah, I can't speak on behalf of Jordy. So yeah. Nolan, I could say this with 1,000% certainty. Okay. There was, something to be said that I could tell you behind the scenes about Jayden. Okay. And I don't share a lot of behind the scenes stuff that I do here. Just out of sensitivity. I will 110%, 1,000% say they've done this. They have done this. I can trust me. I've wondered the same thing. They have done it. Okay. But sometimes a quarterback is who he is, right? And Jayden is a guy that is a little bashful to rip it. And it was like that at Arizona State. It was. So, it's not like it's not like, that's a revelation. But Jayden still wins a lot of games playing that style. They're not close. Not close at all. Now, Walker has some mobility. He does. But, like Jane's mobility is just so much better than everybody's mobility that it's just not like it's hard to compare the two. But Walker will keep his eyes downfield, right? So, yeah, I mean, Walker, I have him as just sources, if you will. I've heard he's been clocked under 4.8 legitimately, and one time he ran a sub 4.7. So that means you've got wheels to a certain extent, right? You're not Jayden fast. Honestly, there's not really any quarterbacks who are that fast, right? Ashford is close. Obviously, um, Bryce Young's backup, number 4, has that level of speed, but not many people do. Okay. Yeah, and there were some instances where I thought he should have ripped it. So there you go. Okay. Generic snacks. You're talking about Cade Fortin, a former walk-on. We saw a true freshman complete those throws tonight. Weegen's a really good player. Y'all might not like it, but Miles Brennan was a 350-yard, 4-touchdown-a-game guy. Number 1, small sample. Number 2, one of those games was against Vanderbilt. Now, the Missouri game was phenomenal. He was phenomenal in that game, but 0 for 10 on third downs. Okay. I don't know why Miles Brennan's name keeps popping up, but he is the biggest victim of small sample size that I've ever seen. And by the way, it was a 2020 Rona year. The Mississippi State game he had was bad. He missed a ton of throws in that game, like big time misses. And his QBR in that game was 44. That was his first ever start in a Rona year. I'll defend him on that. And I will say that he was great versus Vanderbilt and Missouri. But those were arguably the 3 easiest defenses on our schedule that year. So, we don't know what Miles Brennan would have become. We just don't. It doesn't make any sense. What's up, the one? Good to see you. Like I get a lot of Miles Brennan. And look, I was the one that felt Miles Brennan was actually going to start. I thought he was going to take the first snap. So I said it a ton this past offseason. I just had a gut feeling. My heart was telling me Jayden was going to be the guy, but for some reason I thought they were going to give it to Miles out of loyalty, but they didn't. Okay. And judging by people I trust who attend full practices, not just the stuff available to the media, it was pretty well known that Miles was behind the other 2 quarterbacks. So, take it or leave it. I like Miles. He will always be a great LSU Tiger in my mind. He will always be a national champion in my mind. But I'll say this. We hadn't had Miles Brennan brought up in quite some time. So there you go. All right. I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate Derek, the Lone Ranger, to take advantage of our Black Friday sales here on the new Power Hour LSU.com. Okay. So you can join our PHL Patreon. It obviously goes a long way in helping grow our channel. I really appreciate you guys. Once again, a very, sad night for us. I love this team with all my heart. I thought we played hard. I don't think it was a lack of effort. I don't think we gave up at all. But now I begin my film study. So I will be up all night. So here's what's cool about me being up all night. You could send me a message on Patreon. So I'll be chatting in the Patreon with my Discord fellas and ladies. So once again, go to patreon.com/LSU football where you can message me directly. I hope all of you join and you get advanced film studies from people like me. So there you go. It is Power Hour LSU. Bam! And tonight, we got KB's Gumbo. Let's go. Let's go, Tigers. Got to beat Georgia. Let's go.